Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. BJ and Game Day back again for another week. As always, you've got Brent Bogan and joined by a special guest host with us this week. We've got Adrianosaurus Rex. Ados, how are we, brother?
I'm good, mate. As I was saying to you off air, I'm sober, so it's kind of like a different. I'm a different person to even Adrianosaurus that you all know normally. I'm much more sober.
We'll have to see which one the viewers prefer after tonight, mate. We'll take a
Yeah,
poll
let us know, eh?
and see what the people love. So, once again, NRL Supercoach round 12 review, round 13 preview. We'll talk all things Supercoach, the round that was and the round upcoming. We'll start off, boys. Bogan, how are you, mate? How'd you go this week?
Yeah, 1195, so just shy of the 1200. But that seemed to be a pretty well, not good, but average score this week. It was fairly low scoring. A bit of a spoiler alert. Top of the group only scored a 1400. So, considering some of the huge scores that have been coming out in the previous weeks, I'm pretty happy to take a 1200 and move on.
Yeah, good shit. Ados, how'd you go, mate?
Yeah, 1254 for me. That was a loop too. I looped Hines because he was my VC, and my auto emergency. Can you guess who it was? Burbo. Burbo for his 5.
Mine was Blore. I think he scored about 15. So
yeah, but I was happy with that. I got some green arrows with the 1254. I'm into 4,290 overall, which is pretty good for me, I think. So,
solid.
Happy. What about yourself?
Yeah, mate, it wasn't anything too pretty. 1164 for myself. Just, tough year just keeps getting tougher. No Nico Hines, just guys not firing. Missing captains. I had Turbo as captain, so that stung. That really finished the week off well. So 1164, I lost about 500, over 500 spots, jumped pretty much to 12k overall. Having an absolute barrier this year. Like I said, I don't think I've ever scored as high. It's a very high scoring year, but looking like on track to, having a pretty ordinary year, but still a long way to go. Obviously, the bye round this week, guys, and a couple of bye rounds upcoming. Super Trade Week between round and 15 and 16 as well. So I'll definitely look to make up some ground, but I just still can't bring myself to call myself a head-to-head player just yet. So week by week at this stage, boys.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to always at least last till the first bye, surely.
Yeah.
Get to the first bye, see how you go,
Yeah, we'll see what happens. You can finish strong and make some. I'm probably about 20,000 points off the top 1K, but yeah, we'll see what happens over the next few weeks, and then we'll go from there. Quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Yes, we have. It looks like we caught a few off guard this week. We're starting on time, so there's the first time for everything. And look what happens when we get special guests on the show. We get ourselves sorted. So looking forward to jumping in. Looks like the chat's absolutely lit again. So yeah, welcome back all the old heads, and if you're new, welcome to the show. And jump in and have a bit of a chat. Plenty of fire in there already with the boys going off. So good to see.
Mana's given me some shade about beating me in the bloody head-to-head.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mana. Yeah, you bastard. I mentioned you on my podcast actually, and I said, "Fuck, I want to beat Mana." It was one of my things. I just wanted to get the win, but no, good. It was you updated nicely with that Teddy update, and well done, mate. You got the win. You got the chocolates.
Well done. I think you gave me the sausage in a league as well, so you're not alone, mate. Don't worry about it. So recap on round 12 as it was. Indigenous round as well, and we also last round before obviously Origin. Not the last round before Origin, but the bye rounds upcoming. And started off with Brisbane absolutely giving it to the Melbourne absolutely giving it to the Broncos. And it was the Nico Hines show, Ados. Are you a Nico Hines owner, mate?
Yeah, I brought him in, the week prior, and I captained him straight away last week as well, which he also, got a good score then. And this week he was my VC, and I didn't really know that I was going to loop until I saw that Blore got over 20s, because Blore was getting single digits. So once he got 20s, I just looped straight away. I was just like 150 on the board. I thought he was going to update to maybe 165. And yeah, that's all she wrote. He's bloody good. I mean, the Sharks have picked him up for 3 years today.
Yeah, we have heard that this evening as well. The Sharkies have made a big signing of Nico Hines on a 3-year deal, apparently worth about 1.8 million. So I think that's a really good signing for Cronulla as well. Yes, as well for Nukin. Yeah, so a couple of big signings that they'd be for the Sharks next year. Fitzgibbon to start off his reign there at Cronulla. So yeah, absolutely great signing.
Oh yeah, they look good next year. I mean, Hines could even go into maybe play at 6 because Kennedy's been ripping it up, and Fanuc probably doesn't offer much, but he can go up in the front row, and he's got a good work ethic, hasn't he? So yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. I think Kennedy's been one of their best players, at least this year, and they'd be crazy to move him from there. So I think a really good combination there with potentially Hines and Kennedy, and I'd be trying to hold on to SJ if I could because they could have a really good 6-7-1, and you consider they got McInnes to join the side as well. There's some positive signs there for Cronulla for 2022. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, it was the Nico Hines show though guys, on the Friday night. He scored a try, had his hand in a couple. He was kicking goals, plenty of line break assists, tackle busts. I mean, just watching him, boys, I don't know. I've obviously watched him the last few weeks, didn't get on him at any point, so that stings. He's made over $500,000 now and in line to make some more money again this week. But he just must be so quick and just deceptively quick and also strong. He seems to be able to get away from players really easily, and also very hard to tackle. He generally beats the first tackle most times, but just looks a handful.
It's weird because he kind of doesn't look like he's going fast. Like it's a different kind of speed to Duffy and Pap speed. It's not electric like that. But he must have a big stride. He looks like he's striding big, and he is. I think he's just strong in the upper body. He seems to fend well, and he lopes around, and he just kind of looks... like remember old Peachy, Peachy Senior. He's just lopey like that,
Yeah, my favourite saying as well. It's just like he's got spiders on him. No one can tackle him. It's so absolutely loving it there for anyone that owns Nico Hines. Got on him in 4 or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Brandon Smith was also another good one. People were bringing in. He scored a double, set one up with 110 there. But I think Brisbane were in it early, but after the first 10 or 15 minutes, but he couldn't stick with them, and Melbourne ran away with it in the end. Top scorer for them was obviously Turpin with 69. Davida Pangai Jr. with 62, and then Haas came out of this one with a bit of an MCL scare, but I think he'll be right to back up from Origin. It was looking like he was going to be a few weeks, but he went off early. And as a result of that, scoring 38 points, dropped nearly 50k and sitting just over 500,000, which is pretty interesting. Ados, what are your thoughts on Payne Haas? Do you think he's a must-have to finish the year at all, mate? Or you wait and see?
I think for me, he might be a post-round 17 buy if the price is right. But, I mean... if you had IPAP, why would unless you wanted to make money? He's the premium front row, and he's dual this year. And if TPJ keeps playing 80 minutes, their output and their type of game is scoring better than Haas.
What's IPAP's representative status? Is he a Kiwi or something?
Yeah,
I was going to say, because I thought he'd be a cert for Origin, but that makes sense now if he's a...
Yeah, he's a Kiwi. But, no, so, I don't know. I just think that Haas, he's so important to the Broncos. And I don't reckon that Haas has really got an offload, and he doesn't really have sort of stuff that racks up the points, But if he plays... Yeah, if he plays 60, 70 minutes, he'll score at he's got a good PPM, and he'll rack up the points. But I'm not rushing to get him. But if you've got a mug in there like I do with RCG. It could be almost a straight swap to Haas after round 13.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he's been playing pretty much 60 minutes most weeks. He got injured obviously on the week and only played 50, but, if he's playing 60 minutes, you'd think he's a must-have, but, it hasn't always correlated to points. But, yeah, it's an interesting one. Like you said, I've got that combination up front at the moment with IPAP and TPJ, and that looks like the best one to have at this point. There's no standouts, but very interesting with Haas at 530-odd-K with another 100 break even. He could be sub 500, after he plays his next game.
It's no surprise that the two dynamic front rowers this year are really second rowers. It's a year of duels, who Haas would probably be, and old mate from the Penrith are the standout front row alone, and they
Fisher Harris. Yeah.
It's not anything too exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So interesting there. We'll have to see what happens over the next few weeks. Obviously, Brisbane and Melbourne do play this week, so we'll have a look at a few of their options later on. But Melbourne obviously giving it to them on Thursday night there. The first game on the Friday night was a cracker. It was the Cowboys getting the job done over the Warriors in a bit of a thriller, 29-28. I think the Warriors have got the job done. Chanel Harris-Tavita's missed a field goal from 15 out, and I don't know if he's left-footed, but he's hit it with his left foot and absolutely just sprayed it. And they've gone up the other end, and Val Holmes could have kicked it from 70 out, the size of that field goal.
He nailed it.
It was absolute monster. And, it was a great game of footy. I did actually get to catch this one. It was Val Holmes that top scored for the Cows with 100. He's been an absolutely gold buy. I think he's sort of been on a few people's lists the last month or so, boys, and he's on an absolute tear at the moment, old Val Holmes. The dual centre wing fullback, so obviously really nice if you had him in that centre wing spot for the last few weeks because he's in some sublime form.
Yeah, I think back in when I had the choice to bring in Val, I brought in Olam instead, just being a round 13 player. Olam was averaging about 60, but though he scored 20s in the last 2 weeks, and watching Val ton up the last 2 weeks, you can figure how that's made me feel, So
yeah, absolutely,
Val, kicking ass, yeah.
Yeah, he's done really well. Aiken, best game back as well. So I think it's his second game back. Scored a double. Reece Walsh just continues to be a freak. He looks like an absolute superstar. I was sort of wondering if his name would get thrown around in Origin with all the issues they've got there at fullback with Ponga. I think it's been ruled out this evening as well. So Val Holmes will go to fullback and Coldfelt will come onto the wing. But he just looks
Walsh is suspended too, didn't he? Because he did that for.
Did he get done for it? Did he get done?
I think he might have a week or two. Yeah, I don't know.
They're doing judiciary hearings as we speak. So I don't know what the result has been of some of those.
Yeah, always interesting in the Tuesday show because they do have the judiciary going at the same time. Tohu was a bit underwhelming in his 80 minutes out there, just the 58 points, pretty much all in base.
It was his 200th as well.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. He's still 630k, 100 break even. I think he's a must-have, from round 14 for the run home, obviously. But, that's probably his quietest game of the entire year, actually, in his first game under 60.
Right. So, Benny was saying in the chat that everyone got off. So everyone got a week or less.
I did see Lucci was free to play, and Kafusi. Cheers, Benny, for the update. So Luciano's got off. I don't know how that might affect Blore, Ados as a Blore owner, whether he might have got a look in there in the back row. I don't know what the team list is looking at.
I don't think there's going to be heaps of minutes for Blore or Tikimano, really. Who they lose? That was surprisingly they lost Joe O.
Yeah.
And they didn't even get the starting spot. They gave it to that safe half, So,
he has looked good as well, that safe half, actually, I must admit.
Yeah. I thought Blore's looked good when he's been on the field too, personally,
Yeah, so that's interesting there, but an absolute cracker to start the games on the Friday night, considering the fixtures, Cowboys, Warriors, Tigers, Dragons, and then, the second fixture was the Tigers getting over the Dragons pretty comfortably in the end, 34-18. I don't think the Dragons really, were in the game at all. Dane Laurie top scored with 117, so continues to kill it as a rookie this year. Thoughts on Dane Laurie? as a potential rookie for the year. Ados, do you think he's doing better than guys like Schuster and Walker and Walsh?
Look, to me, I think rookie of the year Walker and probably Walsh are at the front of the pile for me, just for how dynamic and confident they are, and just like to come in the spots that they're in at fullback and at halfback, I think is exceptional. I mean, I've been really impressed with Schuster and Laurie too. I mean, Laurie, he's just probably reflective of how the Tigers are going. He's a bit of a yo-yo as well. Like he has some low and sort of low games as well, but you're hard pressed seeing Walsh. You can't imagine. I mean, as of so far, you haven't seen him look anything but dynamic every game.
They're very flashy footballers.
I must say, Liam Knight Award winner, Josh King, if you're watching.
Who you give it to, Dane Laurie?
Christian Walsh.
Oh, Christian. No, we're talking about Rexy from the Warriors.
Well, he's having a good year too.
Oh, he's in the Queensland.
Yeah, so... Yeah, true. That's true. How's that for an award? Yeah, there was a few points out there as well. Dewey was pretty good. He's pretty popular now as well, coming into the bye round. James Roberts returned for a double. Nofo continues to sort of score some points, but be a little bit underwhelming. Unfortunately, I think that's made many bad decisions this year.
I was looking at Nofo to trade in for this week, just because he is one of the big names that's playing club footy this week, but didn't end up going him.
Yeah,
like I said, he's just been a bit underwhelming.
Yeah, the Tigers have an extremely hard run coming up after this bye. They do finish the year with a good run, but if you I own Nofo and I'll hold him probably for the rest of the year, and maybe when he's in the harder games, play on matchups. But, he seems matchup proof, really. He's like 50 to 60.
It's funny, right? I say he's been a bit underwhelming. It's just because he's not scoring tons like he does every year. I don't own him, but in the last month he hasn't scored under 50, and he's had a ton and 260 pluses. So I'm probably a bit harsh.
You can't argue with that consistency. 5 round of 67, 3 round of 61 in the centre.
Yeah, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh, so I'm going to have to pull my head in on that one. Sorry, Nofo. On the Dragons side of the park, it was Corey Norman turning back the clock with 107 in the halves, actually. Creating a few things out there. Surprisingly, scoring quite a few points in a team that only scored 3 tries. But yeah, like I said, not much to write home in that Dragons side. Jack Bird, pretty underwhelming with 40 I've sort of had my eye on him, and I don't know what to make of him. Been named in the back row this week, and obviously the big news is Jack DeBellin, Ados. So obviously throughout last week had the court case thrown out.
I did have a chuckle to that because what's his name, the fucking Dragons coach, turned around and said, "Oh, we're not going to rush him back. Like he's not quite ready. We're not going to rush him back." And it's like one game in the lower grades and then he's back in the team.
Wow. So he's made his return. And I think I said this in one of the chats as well. When all that stuff went down, I think he was at the peak of his powers as a forward. He was the New South Wales lock, if I'm not mistaken, and he was very Supercoach relevant, very Supercoach friendly. Just his style of play, he gets the meat and potatoes, but has a really good work ethic. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes back and what his impact is on the side. What are your thoughts on him, Ados?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 2 years out is really hard. I think that he may get back to being, a good super coachy, like he might get back to 65, but you'd think it's got to be taking 5-6 weeks. I mean, surely this year you're not going to see him back to the peak of his powers. So
no, that's right.
I think he's going to get a slow run up, and
extended his contract for another couple of years though. So
I have no doubt that he'll get back to it. I mean, he's fit. I mean, he looked a bit gassed in that first game back, but he was making his tackles and he was making his runs. He was a bloody great footballer. So, it just depends on how motivated he is, and if he is, he could get back, I think.
Yeah, I mean, his scoring wasn't bad in 2018. Just looking at his stat line here, I mean, it was up and down a bit, but he was pretty much a point per minute player and played about 60 minutes. He had some up and down weeks in there, a few 40s and stuff, but had some attacking stats in him and that sort of thing, and scored 70, to 100 some weeks. So you obviously won't rush him in or anything like that. But interesting to see how Jack DeBellin returns to the NRL for sure. But yeah, you'd be probably a bit desperate to throw him in this week, I reckon.
Tell you what, he'll be competent every time he touches the ball for the rest of his career. He's going to be competent from opposition and from the crowd.
He'll just be glad that he's walking about, mate.
Not in the slammer. Yeah. But it's part and parcel as well, isn't it? He's just going to get booed and
Well, no, not to touch on the subject too much. I copped a bit of flack on Twitter for when the Hayne verdict come out, and I said just let the courts decide it. Let's talk about footy. But I did notice that Willie Mason came out and said that the NRL's got to do something about its attitudes towards women, and I thought, well, hold on a second, Willie, weren't you in a certain hotel room that the Bulldogs got accused of some nefarious deeds? And yeah, he's going to cop that his whole life. Yeah, that sort of sucks. If he hasn't been found not guilty, that just obviously didn't see enough to keep pursuing the case. And that's going to be quite a thing to hang over your head if what his claims were true. So, well, the courts have done their thing. Best of luck to him. I hope he can put it behind him and move on positively.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure he wants to just get out and go play football. Like you said, he'll just be glad that it's over. I mean, fucking hell, it dragged on.
Well, three trials. Like, how many times? Like, it gets to the point. And no wonder they drop the case, because it's like, well, when does it get to the point where it's cruel and unusual punishment? But
anyway, it'll be an interesting watch.
Yeah, that's the courts thing. Let's concentrate and see how he plays footy. And if you really do have a problem with him out there, show up, buy a ticket to the game and boo him. Like, that's your right.
Yeah, moving on to the first game on the Saturday, boys. It was the Dogs. Penrith getting the job done eventually in the end over the Dogs, 30-4. But yeah, probably a few disappointed Nathan Cleary captainers out there. There was plenty of people that chucked the VC on Nicho Hynes and a bit reluctant to loot given this matchup for Cleary. In particular, he managed to score the 57 points. I think 54 points. He did finish on about 80 odd after the game, but a few of us had a chat thinking he might lose Momirovski's first, Charlie Staines' first try assist and line break assist to Momo, and he did, so he downdated a little bit.
I don't know if you guys agree. It's almost like with Penrith that they're not worth picking if they're playing against a shit team, because they just go out there and play in second gear and get the job done. But then when they play a decent team, they'll go out there and they're superstars.
Yeah, they just have so many options across the park. Like you can see there this week it was Staines, Momirovski, Crichton, Coruscant got a bit of it, other weeks it's Burton, Toto, Cleary, bloody Martin. Other weeks it can be Kikau, Luai. Like, it's just like it on a roster week to week. Funnily enough, it's not Luai for the last month since I've owned the fucker, but anyway, it was Charlie Staines that top scored for the Penrith Panthers with a double. It was all out on that right edge. There was also Momirovski out there, scored one, set a couple up. Stevie Crichton had his hand in one and scored one as well. And I'd say Coruscant probably had his best game of the year too. Like I said, the Bulldogs sort of stuck with them. I can't remember what the scoreline at halftime, but it wasn't too bad for the Dogs. But they just went on with it in the end. The Panthers and. Obviously not much probably to write home about on the Dogs side. Obviously a lot of people on Thompson with 58 points there. Shoop scored a late try as well, the debutant, so a nice 60 points from him. Josh Jackson's returned as well, 53 points as well. So, not much doing, obviously, as you can imagine, the Bulldogs side. But, it's going to be an interesting team sheet with Penrith this week, boys. We'll have a look later. Obviously, a few of the boys named in Origin. They've gone with the Penrith Haas, which I think is a great decision. And Brian Toto gets a debut. And obviously Liam Martin was a big one. We had a bit of a chat. Ados, he was someone you looked at as a bit of a sneaky last week, and amazing, I think, to find himself in the 17. I find that fascinating that someone like maybe Maddo misses out, and this guy finds himself in there. But, he's a great impact player, and we'll add plenty coming off the bench from New South Wales.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's the reason he's probably in is just because he's as good as a middle as he is as an edge, and that versatility is just fantastic. He's got a good motor on him, and he's impactful in attack and defense. So, I mean, it should have really stuck out as, I know he was being whispered about, but I mean, I was on my podcast going, oh, he's 30%. I was so sure that when Crichton is out, like the perfect model for what Crichton is Maddo. I was so sure it would be Maddo.
But, for sure.
It is. I mean, that's 80 points. So, I mean, I would have gone in this week with 16 in the bye, and I would have been able to make no trades this week. Look, if you get through, and it looks like I lost To'o and Martin, but it should have been something that you would have been able to predict, that maybe because they're on top of the ladder and unbeaten, that they were going to have a good run in Origin, wouldn't they? For numbers. Yep.
Yeah, fair call. A bit rough, though. I reckon that one's a bit rough. Just like fucking me holding on to Ferguson all year waiting for him to play around 13.
Read about it.
Fuck me. And I bet you there's some lucky gits out there that have sat on Hayes Dunster all year doing nothing, and he's probably going to come out and score a double on the weekend and fucking score 80 points in Fergo's spot.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we'll enough on that. The second game on the Saturday was the Rabbits getting the job done against Para, and I think they did it pretty comfortably in the end here, and some big scores on the South score sheet there, as you can see. Alex Johnson scored a hat-trick, 154 points. Gagai also scored a hat-trick with 149. Danny Cookie turned back the clock a little bit, made plenty of tackles, had his hand in a few attacking stats, scored the first try of the game as well. Cody Walker produced with a couple try assists, a few try contributions. Latrell, couple try assists, couple line break assists. They were all in it, all those Rabbitohs boys, and they put some points on in this one, and looking like the South team we sort of come to expect, not the one we've seen in the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they got a lot of Indigenous boys, and it was Indigenous round, and they all started in that game. It was good to see them bounce back. I mean, they did play the top teams, and they got a sausage in those games, and it was good to see them get up and maybe just bring Para back to earth. I mean, Para, this is what they do every year, really. No offense, Benny, but they start strong, and then the wheels just start fucking falling off, don't they? And then they just peter away. That's why we're 20-odd years since a premiership. So it'll be interesting to see how they pick up Para from this.
Yeah, it is interesting. Like I said, this is one of those big matchups for them, and they also lost to Manly the week before pretty convincingly. So they'll need to bounce back this week against Newcastle, who have had so many players picked in Origin. It's not funny. We're pretty depleted. Not. And, not many have been selected from Para, so they're almost full strength? Who's been picked in there? No one.
No.
Paulo.
Yep.
And he hasn't been flattering the last few months or so anyway, so I think Oregon Kafusi's looked pretty good coming off the bench, and if Reid Marnie's back in there now, they're virtually full strength. So, yeah, look, on the Para side of the park, it was, some solid scores from a team that lost Fergo, Sevo, Gutho all scoring tries. Papali as well saved. He got sin binned. Saved a little bit with his try that he scored. Money, but yeah, you can't probably expect too much in the side that gets beaten by 3 tries. But
Maddo was a bit disappointing for 42, and
sure.
It looks like...
Did he get binned as well? I think he got binned as well.
Did he get binned? I think he just got minutes. He lost minutes.
Did he just get minutes? Did he?
Yeah, I think he's in the rotation. He's not playing 80 minutes, so. That's. I mean, I can't believe that Wonga Blake, is he still in there?
Yes, he is.
Fucking hell, Wonga Blake. Because if they get that, they got that big four forward bench, and so it's not helping Maddo. Worries me.
Yeah, so is he in the rotate? I didn't even notice that. I was pleasantly surprised because I couldn't get Maddo a couple of weeks ago, and I've been ruining it ever since. I think he got binned. So I only played the 70 minutes. Because he got binned, and he only played 59 the week before, so don't know what's doing there. You're right, might have to keep an eye on Maddo.
Yeah, I think he's dead set a watch if they're going to go in with these 4 forward benches. that he's not going to get 80 minutes. And if you have Matto, you get him for 80 minutes, you'll get 65, 70. You get him for 70 or 60 minutes, you're getting 50, 40. You really want all of your second rows to be 80-minute players if you can. 70 to 80.
Big IPAP's sort of taken that role on, hasn't he? He's almost their go-to back row now. He's the guy. All right, moving on for Benny. And to finish off Super Saturday, it was Chooks getting it done convincingly in the end, unfortunately. Ados, you boys, I think, were you in front at half-time? We scored the first couple of tries.
Well, we
were
were
up
front
10-0.
for the first 30 minutes, yeah. I mean, we've been in front 8 games this year into half-time. We're starting fine, but that's just a total attitude thing. We get rolled in the second half. I feel nothing. I feel just nothing about it.
See, this is where I wish I...
I'm so depressed about it.
I had the soundboard set up.
Sorry, mate. We won't take too long on this one, but
play the violin music for Adrian.
It was a smash-up. Yeah, it was a smash-up.
Walker was a late withdrawal, guys, so we saw young Suwali play his second game. Joe Mano moved into the halves. Teddy top scored with a ton. Had his hand in a couple tries, a couple line breaks, a couple line break assists. Tupanua's been good again with a double, held on to him. CHN updated very nicely. I didn't actually see that with 90 points. So he's a standout.
Yeah, I thought he was the best on the park for the Raiders, and I don't know what his price is. I think he's 400, but I don't know if you'd buy any Raiders. They're just, who knows? They could all be dropped next week.
I think he's the one. Stewart's got a soft spot for him, but I also thought he had a soft spot for Parley and a few other guys that have been dropped in the last few weeks. But I think of any Raider, he's the one for sure. It's just like you said, the concern there of the security, but he could be an in for next week maybe. So the run home, he could be a sneaky.
He's the only one you'd want, I think.
Yeah. So Joe Mano's good, scored a double. One of them was, probably a couple of them were pretty lucky. He got that strip and then the kick for himself. But yeah, we won't spend too much time on this one, Ados. There's points everywhere for the Chooks, and unfortunately, the Raiders are on the end of it. Tuck Yaho, just quickly, he's been a bit on the watch list for the last few weeks, just not doing what's doing with Tuck Yaho. Again,
he's in the starting lineup.
He is, but only the 50 minutes and the 53 points. So yeah, and obviously since losing the goal kicking, he's, I guess, probably lost some relevance. I'm not sure if he's now the guy you must have anymore, and probably not a guy you'll need for the run home potentially either in that front row position, as we've said. Might be some other options there.
Yeah, he's iffy. I mean, if you think about round 17 front row, who are your choices? Maybe you just take a hit in the front row. I don't think that there's opportunity in the front row enough to make trades to try to bring in any. No, there's no standout round 17 front rower, really, is there?
No. And you might take the hit, like probably a few are at fullback this week, just wearing guys like Teddy and Turbo. Some people might bring in Gutho, but maybe just take the hit with IPAP and TPJ and worry about it the week after, sort of thing.
Yep.
Moving on the Sunday, and it was a bit of an upset, I guess, as per the bookies. Cronulla running away with this convincingly, and it was just a no contest in the end, absolutely giving it to the Titans, 38-10. Jesse Ramian, I didn't actually catch either of these games, believe it or not, even the Newcastle game on the Sunday, but Jesse Ramian obviously did a fair bit. Did you catch this one or the second game on the Sunday, Ados?
Yeah, I caught them. They were great, the Sharks. I tipped the Sharks. I'm not convinced on the Titans, and Ramian was bloody dynamic. He's on my hit list now. If I'm looking to flip people like Olam and alike, he's around 17 target for me. I think he can go 100, and he's a tackle breaker. He's like a little TPJ. He's got a good strong upper body, and he looked really good. Moylan and SJ looked like they did. Moylan looked pretty bloody good. They rolled them.
That's got to be their. I mean, not like I said, I didn't watch the game, but that's got to be their best halves combination. Turns and it's just tits on the ball, isn't he? Can't defend, doesn't offer much in attack. He's a structured half, but I think
He's
SJ
signed
can do
elsewhere,
that.
so
True.
off.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that stat line of Ramian's amazing. If you have a look at that, he scored a try, had a try contribution, 10 tackle busts, plenty of offloads, a couple of line breaks, a couple of line break assists, plenty of hit ups. I think he's a guy. I've been a big fan of him in the past, Ados, but he's the kind of guy that does a hamstring in a game and then fucks you. And I've gone completely off him this year, but it looks like he's in a bit of form at the moment. He's on a bit of a tear as well. So, yeah, not a bad shout. He's at 500K
I think he's
this
one
week.
on. Yeah.
And, yeah, obviously must be doing some good things out there. Top scorer for the Titans was Mofo with 84. Had a line break, but that's pretty much all meat and potatoes with some tackle busts in there as well. Big Mofo looking good the last few weeks. Obviously, Deefy returned with an 82. Did he get binned late as well, did I hear?
I don't know, actually. I don't think so.
No, maybe I didn't hear that right. But 82 on his return, and he's now 800K. Obviously, we'll play Origin, drop 50K, had a big break even, but has 116 break even now, Ados. He could potentially hit that, but the next two games, I think they play Melbourne, Chooks, then Manly. So I don't know whether you get him in as soon as you can after Origin. Do you wait after round 17 to get Defu in? What are your thoughts on him, Ados?
Yeah, I mean, he is got to be a finish the year, and you've just got to go when the price is right. And it's as simple as that. He is going to stay in the 700s all year, I think. And because he can go 150, 140, I mean, do you want to be, I'll just wait a week and then get rolled when he gets 150 again? So to me, I think the best chances now, I think when he comes back from Origin, he's going to play big minutes in Origin. He's important to their team, I think. So he might be on limited minutes when he comes back, but the Titans are going so shit house that I don't know if they can afford to do it. But I'm just going to go when the BE, if the BE is over 100, I'm not going to wear much, even if he does do his maximum. But I'm going to wait till he go. If he's got to be in the hundreds, I'll hope that he goes down 40 grand, and then I'll jump on. But I'll get him before 17 if he comes out to the right price.
I guess the only concern now is all these new fucking rules with the headshots and this and that. You got to have a think about some of your Origin players because anything could happen out there, and who knows? He's obviously not that aggressive sort of player, but
no, he doesn't.
The Origin arena. Yeah. I think Marta was saying he had more tackle busts than tackles at one point on the weekend, which sounds about right.
Yeah.
So,
grab runs he does.
Yeah. So the Sharkies, look, they're in a bit of form now. Well, not form, but a big win there. Might get the confidence up. And, Sean Johnson's probably a big one on the list for the run home for me, Ados. I'm a big SJ fan, and from what I can gather here, he had a bit of a good game. Looks like he's had his hand in a fair bit, obviously kicking goals. He's 500K with I think he's got an 80-odd break even. Are you thinking of looking at SJ pretty quickly after the next week?
I am. I mean, I went Burton, and I've taken Burton just for, the little cash grab, and just totally for this round 13 game. To me, if I see, I mean, I know SJ's lost a yard or two, but if I see another 70 from him this week, it's Burton to SJ in preparations for 17 and the run home. Because every trade that I make now, I'm going to just make the ones that are, is it a 17 and is it someone I'm happy to take all the way home? I'll grab them first. So that's Tohu, and I'm going to grab the ones that I can use for 17 that I know I'm not going to necessarily want to trade out. And SJ certainly fits into that category. He could be my backup, a halfback next to Cleary. And,
I think as well, on Cronulla more generally, but especially SJ's, if you go and have a look at Cronulla's run home, they play Penrith next week in round 14, but after that, they don't play a top four side until Melbourne in round 25. So Cronulla have an amazing run home on paper. Play Brisbane twice. They've got the Cows, the Dogs, Tigers, Warriors, Raiders. They don't have an elite side until round 25. So I think if you're looking at guys like Ramian and SJ and if Talakai can manage to find his way into that starting side at some point, I don't know if he can, but I think he should. I think he should be there somewhere. But, have a look at those Sharkies boys for their own home for sure after this week because they got a lovely draw coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, SJ, he's got to break even 86, so you might even get him under 500k next week.
Absolutely. So they play Penrith. Maybe you wait and see out of that what happens. You probably don't expect him to go too big. Maybe he hits his break even if he's lucky. But highly unlikely, I'd imagine. And then you get him in after that against the Cows. And then to finish it off, I didn't watch this, unfortunately. It was a bit of a catch-22 for me because I'm a Newcastle fan, a diehard, and I thought we got no chance. I think ADOS throughout the weekend, someone was saying something about Turbo Captain, and I said he's minimum 100 against us. We're bad, but our edges are terrible. But I didn't catch this game. I was out with the family, and we got the job done. I was shocked. I think it was 10-0 pretty quickly, ADOS, from looking at live updates, and it's finished 18-10, and we've come home and got the job done, and against a Manly side that have been in red hot form. I think they've only lost to Penrith since Turbo's returned. So you saw this one, mate?
Yeah, I did. They're a little I think it was probably a flat Manly. I think the Knights were a little better and Manly were a little flat, and I think that was the difference. It was actually one thing that I noticed out there was it seemed like they missed the young kid because of his ball play, and I think it just takes a little bit of pressure off the halves.
Schuster?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a late withdrawal as well. Yeah.
I think I noticed that, and it just it was they really seemed to manage Tommy Turbo pretty well out there. It was a good captain's knock by Dan Safidi, got over for a pie. Watson, fucking hell, Watson's awesome. Like, you got to play him for 80 minutes. Like,
get him out there 24/7.
Mate, the guy's a weapon, and he's a trier, and he goes out there, and why would you ever take him off? Because when he's on there, his energy is better than everyone else on the field, both teams combined.
He's like a pinball. He bounces off everything. He's just all over the place. Pops up, bouncing off tackles. You're right. I don't know why he doesn't get more minutes than he does. I know the impact player, but
yeah, I think he was named this week in the halves, but we'll get that when we get to teams. But he was great. I mean, they went Tex Hoy. Thank God, he looked pretty good. Tex at the back this week, and it was a bit of a flat Manly, and the Knights needed to get up. I'm very complimentary of Coach.
Yes.
But he seemed to pull some of the right strings out there this week. I think getting Mann
out.
He might be.
Getting Hoy at the back and then putting Watson in the halves, and I think Barney got more minutes. It was a better combo. It was the bench and it was everything that obviously just said it's time for us to make some changes in the way we play and how we manage the game.
He might be a listener of yours there, Ado.
Might follow the Adrianosaurus Rex.
Yeah, I'm a big complimenter of O'Brien.
But yeah, so look, we'll take that. It's a good win for us. I even tipped friggin' Sea Eagles. I think we tipping comp as well, believe it or not. On the Manly side, nothing amazing in a team that scored 10 points. Cole Lawton, what's doing there? 89. He scored a try, didn't he? I think he scored one early. Did he play big minutes? Because there was a couple outs, 73 minutes, 59 in base, but did score. No, didn't score a try. Did he? Wait. He didn't score a try. Maybe set one up. But yeah, pretty disappointing. Maybe just the big game against Para the week before ADOS, they were just on the downer after such a big game, potentially. I'm not sure, but it wasn't
maybe
pretty.
They just went in, maybe a bit overconfident, and I think they contained Tommy Turbo well, and I think if you want to beat Manly, you go straight to take care of Tommy Turbo. Just take his time. They never kicked to him all game, and that's just smart play. It was smart.
And you're right. I think maybe Schuster out there, that extra, dangerous player, giving him that time and space, or being that extra threat in attack that the defense don't have to worry about. That Turbo's getting the ball, and he's the only one that's probably doing much. So,
yep, good win.
And that was the round it was. So, round 12 done and dusted, and we look ahead to round 13, the bye round.
We do.
The big anticipated bye round.
Why are we still having a Thursday game when there's only fucking 4 games this week? Fuck it, shit.
I think that's. I think mainly just so that each day you've got a game, and you're not like this fucking hell. I got no Tuesday and Thursday, and then it's
Bring back Monday night footy. Dead
Yeah,
set.
I don't like Thursday night footy. I'd rather have the Monday night footy, to be fair.
I love Monday night. You'd only have Tuesday, Wednesday, no footy, back to Thursday. Beautiful. I didn't
And they're
mind
kicking
that.
it off with the Dynamo game too. So
I think they're all crackers this weekend, didn't they?
yeah.
But yeah, it will be St. George taking on Brisbane. Clash of the Titans here. Plenty of outs, plenty of new faces. You've got, where do you start? Dragons are probably near full strength because they've got no one in Origin. But Dufty and Kerr do return. Jack DeBellin has been named off the bench. Tarek Sims obviously is been named in Origin. I'm mistaken there. So Jack Bird's been named to start in the back row, which is interesting, Ados.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see how he goes. Obviously, that's going to be pretty short term with Tarek Sims playing Origin. But yeah, it's an interesting one for any Bird owners.
Yeah, I mean, Bird's been going pretty well this year, 40 to 60s most games. He would have been an option for people, as a pod. I don't know if I'd buy him now,
Still mid 400s, I think.
Yeah. I mean, looking at these two lists, if you're looking at people to bring in, as a last minute bring in for 13, Hunt got a good score last week and he's averaging pretty well for the year. So if you copped a sausage in the dummy half position, or if you had a spot to go in the halves, you could get a Ben Hunt. I think he'll have a big game. I think I'm tipping the Dragons in this one. I think Dufty at the back is better. And I think they'll get the job done.
No, I like Hunt. Good shout at 480k with a low break even as well. So if he does have a good game, he'll make you a little bit of cash. And they have a good few games coming up with Brisbane, Dogs, Canberra, Warriors before round 17. So you could potentially get some upside out of him and a bit of cash before that next buy to get rid of him. We got Selwyn Cobu debuting for the Broncos. I've never heard of him.
He's supposed to be bloody good. Yeah.
See how he goes. Obviously no Payne Haas, so Fledgler goes into that spot there. Maybe Lodge returns as well. Asiata comes into the 13 where Fledger's been playing the last few weeks. I don't know. Are there any standout cheapies in this one, or guys you got to have? You reckon, Ados, or is it just sort of if you've got them, you've got them, and there's not worth?
Yeah, if you'd held Ozako, if you'd held Ozako, even though he got a poor score last week, he can go 100 and he will kick goals. So I'd hold him. It's a nice win for people who have been just rissoled with gamble. He's in the merry-go-round in the halves. He's back in, and I know a lot of people were looking at that Keenan Palasia, Palacia, but he's obviously back on the bench, and I think he's a trap. So,
Agreed.
I wouldn't grab him. And that Robardi looked bloody dynamic last week.
He looks good, doesn't he? He's a big thing, isn't he?
Yeah, so I was tempted by Lodge at a point, but no, I just think TPJ is the only one in there, that I think is, if you've got TPJ, he's one of the ones this week that could get you a ton, and Ozako's got a ton in him as well. So those are my two that I like from the Broncos.
I'll shout Ravalawa for maybe a sneaky pod ton, VC ton. Maybe he scores a few out there if he's on Selwyn. Who knows?
Or he'll get sent off for doing his headbutt tackle.
Yeah, true. That as well. Moving on to the next one. So it'll be the Friday night game. The only Friday night game.
Can the Tigers get a sneaky over the Panthers?
Out of the West.
I'm not tipping they will.
Even with half their team playing fucking in Sydney and Origin camp.
Yeah, but you got Mbai and Brooks in the halves versus Burton and Tyrone May. I'd still prefer Penrith's halves. And at the back, I prefer Dylan Edwards at the moment. Probably, Laurie's okay, but that position for position, they still look bloody awesome. I think maybe the place where they might have some light issues is in the forwards, but I think Linu's a great talent. What a nice win if he actually runs on. All those people that have held Linu for the 13, But I think it'll be tight, but I just think the Penrith will just keep on rolling on. You got James Fisher-Harris in there beating him and kick out. Scott Sorensen's a first grader, he's and Eisenhuth, they're first grade standard.
For sure. And their mentality is next man up, so they just get in, get the job done. They've still got probably as good as a 1 to 5 as any other team in the comp. And all those guys on the bench, I mean, they're pretty much unknown names, right? Jamin Salmon's come over from Para, but Hopgood's, I think, debuted, Lindsay Smith and Targo, but I'm sure they all get in and rip in. Probably another win as well for Lino owners will be the Stefano owners, ADOS. So any that started with Stefano and held on to him, and obviously Spencer, will be happy to see those boys on the team sheet and just make up a couple extra numbers for this week. So that's a bit of a win.
Yeah, I think between Linu, Stefano and Blore, you might have 75, 80 points in there, and you could have just as easily had Linu on the bench and no Tikamano. So it is a bonus. And, they're all trades as soon as this round's finished, whatever you can do with them. But you hold them for this round and it's a lottery. You get what you get. I mean, it'd be great if Tikamano and Linu get over for a pie, or whatever. You just take what you can get.
Yeah, for sure. So happy with that. Obviously, Luciano as well has been found innocent or whatever, not guilty, whatever you want to call it. So he'll be free to play. Ados, is he going to be a trade out for you pretty much straight away after the bye? He's done a job and happy to move him on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one, really. I mean, I think he could be, when the time is right, maybe straight to Val or someone, for the home run. It's kind of like Val goal kicking and has a higher ceiling. But, I mean, Laurie, I always sort of think about where they came from, and he was a cheapie. He's been a good cheapie, really. He's up, at the right price, to move on to something better. But I'll just see how the team. I mean, essentially after this round, if I'm 50 grand short selling Olam, but I could do it by selling, Laurie and just do one trade instead of two trades, I'll do it.
Yeah, I think the nice thing, obviously, with that big score on the weekend, he's now got a negative break even. So he's probably, and they've got a tough next 4 weeks, as you sort of alluded to earlier. So it could be a nice time. He could be really right next week. He'll be over 500k. It could be mid 500s and then have a couple hard games. So it could be a really nice sell. But he's done a job. There'll be probably those weeks throughout the year, the back end of the year, where he still tons up. But I think he does have those 20s and 30s in him, which will just sting you too much at the back end. But I think he's done a really good job, and might be time to jump off, maybe.
Yep, and get across to one of those Ramians or two or whatever,
sure.
Just sideways.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
And our Saturday game will be the Storm taking on the Titans.
I reckon there's some points in this one, fellas.
Yeah, you're probably right. Sunshine Coast Stadium. Nico Hines owners will be frothing at this one. I think there'll be plenty of points on board over there for Melbourne. But obviously, the team lists obviously look pretty interesting there, especially that back line for Melbourne. But, I mean, they've shown the last few weeks. They did against Canberra with, I don't think they had any of their spine. They did it against, was it Brisbane last week, with just sort of Jerome back. Obviously, Nico's a phenomenal player, but again, they just got that next man up mentality. They get the job done. And the Titans have been pretty underwhelming. I think they're looking like pretenders this year, ADOS. They've sort of had some big wins, had some big raps on them, but missing guys like Fafita,
Mofo,
the only
times they've looked good is when they've got Fafita and Fasil Malawi and fullback. Yeah, when they're all firing. So you take them out of there, I think they're going to be on for a hiding. Shout out actually last week to Daniel from our group. He's ugly as a fucking dropped pie. Apparently, I'm looking at his profile. He looks like a half-sucked mango in the head. But he looped Hines for 300. Well done, mate.
Spoiler for the group.
Because he wouldn't take his skirt off. I had to encourage him to loop, and he looped. So well done, mate. And hopefully you got your big boy pants on this week to captain Hines yourself.
Shout out Danos. There was a bit of chat throughout the weekend about looping him versus leaving the sound clear or turbo. So your boys death rode successfully.
Yeah, we did.
You'll be happy about that. It couldn't have turned out any better, could it? But shout out to Danos. Well done, mate. It'll be interesting as well. Jaden Campbell gets a debut, boys. So son of Preston Campbell, I think I read today, Preston was the first player the Titans ever signed, and obviously he'll be the first father-son combo for that club. But he's interesting. He looks a bit like David Peachey. He's a long, lanky sort of thing. I think he probably weighs 60 kilos ringing wet, but really keen to see him go around because he's I've seen a little bit of him and he could be a little bit dangerous. Obviously, I don't expect him to set the world on fire, but always interesting to see the next generation, especially, someone from Preston Campbell's sort of pedigree.
Yeah, he looks like he's a chip off the old block to me.
For sure.
He's definitely got that sort of smooth, cool looking play. Style.
Means ratty as well, I think.
Yeah. So, I look forward to seeing him out there. But who do you like from... I've got Oldham and Hines. I think Hughes will have a big game here. Brandon Smith. That was a great buy. The people that brought him in last year. You get a ton, and he should go well this week as well. That was a great buy.
Just goes to show you, Melbourne, though, you don't have Grant available, so you can just have Brandon Smith.
Yeah.
I looked at him last week and I thought he was 500k and it was really short term. I knew he was going to play the bye, but Grant expected to come straight back, so missed it and didn't.
Look at those two forward packs next to each other.
But they've got strides so far still, so it's all good.
Yeah, I think Melbourne will get the job done pretty comfortably here. So we've got any Melbourne players. Even Big Nelson's on a bit of a tear at the moment, scoring tries all over the shop.
Peachy on the bench. That's a lot of people bought Peachy.
I don't know why
for this.
He played two good fucking games.
He was a big buy at one point, Bo.
I know,
he was getting some decent.
He's played two good games, and they're the two best games he's played in about fucking 3 seasons.
But you pick him in centre wing, and he was averaging above 60. And people buying him, like him and Bird just like the duel and grab him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up with switch starting at lock or something over McIntyre, but we'll see what happens. And he comes on and he plays a bit of time at hooker as well, so he spells Rain and goes into hooker, so he probably loses a bit. I don't know how long that's been happening for, but he obviously doesn't. That means he's not running the ball as much or running out on the edges or whatever it is, and he's getting in and getting the ball out from dummy halves. So it might mean he gets a few more points in tackles while he's out there, but he loses that dimension of his running game and the attacking stats he might be able to get, obviously playing back row or lock.
Yep.
Anyways, fuck the Titans.
Fuck the Titans. Kano's happy about Eremai. He'll probably score 1,000 tries.
Hopefully, because he'll be on Olam's side, so obviously...
I think Olam for a ton, Ados. He's probably tormented you the last however many weeks. Every time I watch him, I think he's going to score 5 tries. I think this is the week. You've held strong, and this will be the week.
Hopefully. I need something from him. 2 20s in a row.
Yeah. But he looks dangerous. Every time he runs, I feel like he's going to run through a bloody brick wall.
Yeah.
And then to finish it off on the Sunday, it'll be my boys Newcastle taking on Para at McDonald Jones at the 4 o'clock slot. And, look, as we said, I think apart from Paulo, Para are pretty much full strength. Reid Marnie back into the side, obviously with Harry Grant. I didn't realise until this afternoon. I thought Marnie was going to get his jersey, but with Grant's fitness passing, he's been moved back out of the camp. He's back for Para, so I think big game for us. We got no Ponga.
Yeah, they're so full strength nearly, it's going to be tough. And I think that losing Clem.
Yes, Clem's taken.
You would have lost Tyson.
Brazil as well, yeah.
Surprised that they didn't just go Barney to 80 minutes in the second row, because good old O'Brien he's a bloody numbnut. He's a peanut.
Yeah. So and obviously losing Dan Safidi to Origin as well. So we're empty in the forward pack, which is usually where we're pretty strong, even though we haven't done well. So and Para haven't been good the last couple of weeks, so they'll be looking for a big bounce back. So. Guys like Gutho, Sivo, Fergo's obviously been dropped. Mitch Broses, Dylan Brown is back as well, so he's been out obviously since the lung puncture has been out for the last few weeks. Murata Nikora is going to start at prop for Paulo there, but I think Maddo, Papali, Reid Marnie, I was looking at bringing him in this week because it might be a little bit short term, but I still think he offers plenty for the next few weeks as well. Maybe he's a keeper. Is he a keeper in the hooker position for the run home, or is it What do you think?
To me, I mean, I'm happy to have a Brayley / Grant combo when it's the right time for Grant, or I'd be happy with Reed and Grant.
Cool.
It's got to be Grant, but who you pair him with. But
Agreed.
when I was looking at people to buy, on my pod, I went through round 13 options. Marnie is the highest scoring hooker for the year, but he was below 500k because he's just gone off a cliff. He's averaging in the 40s.
Well, he got the head knock as well at one point, which he had a real low. Was it like? Oh, maybe it wasn't that bad looking at his stat line, but I think he's good. He's like a 66 break even at mid 400s. I think he's a good buy this week, personally.
Yeah, I mean the price is right, definitely.
And the next 4 weeks are really good. Well, next 3 weeks, ADOS. They go Newcastle, Tigers, Dogs.
Yeah. So I think if you got to bring in if you need someone to bring in to bolster this week, there's not too many better than Marnie for 400, is there?
No, I'm looking at him. I think I got plenty of cash in the bank. I could go Madden to Marnie via Watson. Like I've had all that money there waiting for DFI, but I don't know if I can play 11 this week. I might have to go all out this week.
Yeah, I think
that's one I'm looking at. And I was looking at Maddo until you told me his minutes were fucked. I'll have to look a bit more at that too.
Yeah, Maddo. I mean, I hope he gets to play more minutes now. They've got, with that bench, I think maybe with Niokore up front and they're losing Paulo, maybe he gets to play more minutes. I hope. But, I think there's a minute share there. So if he gets 60 this week, he becomes, it's going to be Tohu, Crichton, and Fifi are my 3 premium second rowers. I don't know if Maddo's in there. He'd be a fourth. But if he's not getting the minutes, he may not even be a fourth. You might have just someone, who can, who plays 80, give you a better chance to score points.
But I'm just thinking, outside of your fullback obviously is going to be one of your reserves. Where are your other 3 reserves coming from? What positions? Like if it's not back row and maybe it's a Marnie, maybe it's a Brayley if you got Grant, and then the front row there's not much there. So is it a 5'8"? Is it a Walker?
I'm going hookers and halves. The halves seem to be able to train out scores. Even though Walker was a yo-yo, he was getting some low 20s. You keep the reserve on him because he can go 150. You have to. You didn't want to miss the times he goes 150. So, and the ability for you got AJ on if you got him as a 5th centre wing, he can get on the right matchups, he's going to get multiple tries, so you have a reserve on these ones that can, because otherwise,
starts.
How do you get ahead of anyone else in a head-to-head, How do you move up the ladder? Yeah,
no, you're right. So it'll be interesting. It's changed a lot, the game of Supercoach. This last, since the rule change, and it's crazy. You probably would have ran at least 1 or 2 back rowers on the bench as filling your 17, but it's not looking like that this year. Maybe some guys like Lolo aren't doing as well. Maddo, it's interesting, but a good shout as well. Obviously Clifford's on the bench there for us, so maybe that impacts Watson on the weekend not playing 6. Whether that means he goes back to lock, Barnett moves, who knows? But we'll have to see what your man AOB does, Ados.
Yeah, I mean, if I were the coach, Barnett would start at lock and then go into second row for Brodie Jones, who'd go to the bench. But, obviously Barnett is on the chopping block for me round 14 to Tohu. I don't see any reason to hold him just because 40 minutes,
It's no good.
Yeah.
It's no good. You're right. I mean, he does offer a bit when he's out there, but you can't trust AOB. So that's probably it. There's a few questions in the chat at the moment. Amana's asking Brown, what was it? Pardon me, I'm about to sneeze. Brown or Marnie? I'm thinking he's Nathan Brown, I assume.
Yeah, Nathan Brown has been pretty bloody average, if you ask me. When I did the drill down of his scores, let's have a look at him. He has
in the minutes the last couple of weeks, but hasn't translated. His impact's really good. I thought he might have been in line for the Blues jersey the way he's been.
Yeah, I had him as a possible there just because they need some mongrel in the pack, but I think they went Tarek Sims, for it. But 5-round average of 43 and a 3-round average of 54.
Assuming average Dylan Brown. He
You
must
know?
mean Dylan Brown then. He must be thinking Dylan Brown is a bit of a pod.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
Dylan,
the New
yeah.
South Wales team, here's for anyone who hasn't seen it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll run through that as well. Thoughts on the side, Ados? Is there anyone you wouldn't have had or would have had over another one? A couple, I guess, interesting ones to mention with Jake Trbojevic, obviously playing prop. I know he usually plays lock. Similar role there. But I guess I was a little bit surprised to see him named there. He's opted with Paulo on the bench and obviously overlooked Clemmer again, which was interesting. Tarek Sims as well, obviously maybe with Frizzell, the Frizzell injury, that was the reasoning behind him. And obviously Crichton as well. Sees
Yeah,
Murray Sims in the edges.
Yeah, I mean Sims and Liam Martin surprised me big time. But I think that maybe you got to think about the fact that for Origin 2, Crichton will be back, and will Radley be back by then? Because Origin
Yeah.
counts for him.
Yeah,
So maybe
absolutely.
they're just thinking of players that they can get to rent and do a job for them in one. But I mean, Liam Martin, I don't disagree with a whole bunch, but I think Tarek's having an average year. I don't get it. And I think Jake on reputation gets to grab his spot in the team. I'm so glad they went the halves that they did, and I did pick Whiten as my 14 once I knew Pat was ruled out. I had Tupu in over To'o just because I was worried about his height in Origin, and I think I think they're going to have him on Val's side, so that's maybe not as concerning. But I like it. I like the team. I think it's a good team. I think I think they picked him at lock, which I agree.
I think he deserved it.
Second row. And they're going
Well,
Murray.
is
I
there more
like.
fucking Panthers in the New South Wales team than there is in the Panthers team this week? Like...
But yeah, it's good.
I love the centre pairings. I must admit of Trbojevic and Latrell. I think those two guys are up there, and to have those guys in the centres, you compare that to last year with White and Guffo. I really like the look of this side as well. Surprisingly, I know we had a few outs, but looking forward to this one.
I think that back line has Queensland covered. I mean, I'm a New South Wales supporter, but I think that back line has them covered, and then some. So, the way that Mitchell and Trbojevic can pass the ball, Addo Carr and To'o are just going to have. I just reckon they're going to kill him.
It's amazing to think, Luai and Cleary are giving the ball out of Latrell to Trbojevic with guys like To'o, Addo Carr, and Tedesco at the back, but.
Yeah. So I mean, look, it's they've got a huge disadvantage because they've got 2 games in Queensland now, and I think that their work's going to be cut out for them to win this series.
That stadium up in North Queensland too, it's going to be filled to the brim because how often?
Yeah.
Like all those locals are going to turn up for that for sure.
But I think that Cleary is just having a wow of a year. He's amazing. And I think this could be the making of Cleary. I think he's going to lead him to I mean, I know that Tedesco's the captain, but I think he could be the player of the series this year. And I think he'll get a lot of confidence having his mate there in the 6. And I really think he's in for a big Origin series.
Well, he is open. And...
Yeah. I think the other interesting for me will be how he plays Whiten. I obviously love Paulo Haas coming in off the bench, spelling Safidi and Trbojevic. There's some big impact there, but I'll be interested to see how he uses Whiten as well.
Yeah, that will be interesting. I don't know. I think, inevitably in Origin you might get a HIA or you might get something that needs someone to come on and plug a gap. I think that's probably going to be his best chance. But I can see maybe if the game's going well, Whiten's a candidate for getting 5 minutes.
Yeah, maybe he spells Yo for a little bit. He's a big enough body. You can defend in the middle or the edge. You can go pretty much play him anywhere really. So, I really like Whiten as a utility. We got the Queensland side, or are we just fully biased, folks?
Here's the Queensland side. Obviously, there's some changes there with Ponga.
Ponga's out. So what are they doing? They're putting Val at fullback.
Yep. And Felt goes onto the wing.
Yeah. I've always thought Felt, being a big body and sort of strong, he's good in the air. I always thought he could handle Origin. I don't know if I've ever thought he would be a dynamo in Origin, but, he's not a bad player, really.
No, he's tough. He's got a bit of aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
he's
Capewell.
a
I
bit
like
of a threat.
Capewell in the centres. Yeah, I mean it seemed fine. I mean I think it's a bold move, calling Harry Grant fit and letting Marnie go back. I don't mind. I didn't mind the team. It looked a little tougher to me, with Harry Grant at the 14 and starting with Marnie. Felice
Agreed.
got off the filthy animal on his trip charge. I mean, how did he get off on that? What did he say it was?
It was a twitch. He had a twitch or something.
What a fucking dog he is. He's a
Isn't
dirty dog.
Isn't he what? He's a
mate.
bad one.
But yeah, no, I mean, some of the ones that I mean, look, you're not going to get as much off the bench. I know they've had a lot of troubles in the forwards. Sewer's coming in from reserve grade, but I don't mind the way Sewer plays. I think he does have the attributes that'll work in Origin. But, I mean, it's not like he's been in super form. And if Joe Offengowie can get an Origin, I wouldn't even have Joe Offengowie in a first grade team.
Yeah, that's a spell, isn't it? That's interesting.
I mean, who are they going to pick instead? Like Cohen Hess is in there.
Can I just remind you, two fellas, though, that we tend to say this sort of shit every year about the Queensland team, and they fucking kick our ass most of the time.
Oh, look, you can't deny the fact that they show up every year, but I mean, we had plenty of injuries last year as well. I know we were calling them, they were called the worst Queensland side ever, but I think we lost Teddy. How long into the game did we lose Teddy last? There was some big things that happened in that game as well.
Maybe I'm just a little bit too old to remember. I remember a time they picked a fucking bloke for Queensland that never had played first grade before. So they've had.
Was that?
It was Benny Eichen. He's now a grumpy man on Fox Sports. But
but I mean, look, you can't dog them. If you look 6 onwards, you've got Munster, DCE. Christian Welsh has had a fab year. Harry Grant's the best 9 in the game, basically. Tino, Felice, and David Fafita.
Yeah,
I mean, mate, they can dominate their opposition. Dave can run over the top of people.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the impact off the bench. Obviously, Mofo's unreal and Sewell out of heat. But yeah, I think that it's interesting. Munster might be a little bit underdone. Grant might be underdone. Brimson obviously has got that bone bruising from the weekend as well. So, it might be a bit of an injury cloud there. Cherry Evans hasn't been having a stellar year by any means either. So, but they do step up at Origin time, obviously, and don't expect it to be a walkover or a rout. But
I think it'll be a good Origin series, and I'm going to tip New South Wales, but I think it's a. I just think when I look at the team, I don't know how many workers they've got. Like the Dallas Johnson type. The tackle bots and the workers. Fafita and Tino are sort of showy players. They're attack players.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of work for it's going to be a lot of work for Welch in that game.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, and I think New South Wales have got a lot to prove from last year. They need to, come out and smack them to make up for what happened last year. They owe it to a lot of fans too.
Yep.
All right, on to the leagues. So it was mentioned earlier, but Daniel, who was in the chat, don't know if he's still there, but he topped the group this week with a 1446.
I cannot see shit on that graphic, by the way.
Yeah, looks like it's too bright. Like you got to turn the brightness.
I don't know if what the chat can see, but let us know if you can't read that.
Looks fine on my phone.
Okay.
But, fine, fucking whingers. But I'll read through it.
Shit, I was taking a photo.
So I can see Daniel, vaguely what it is.
Daniel with 2 girls, 1 KFC bucket. 1446. He topped the group this week. Another Ben. It's not our Benny, but it's another Ben with Ben RR, and he scored a 1424. Wayne with the Red Knights, who came in 3rd. He got a 1383. Michael with the Vile Vipers, he got a 1381. I've seen Michael around a fair bit. See you, mate, Paul. He got a 1380. Avalon Storm, Jason, he got a 1371. What's Pappenhausen, Joshua, he got a 1369. Unicorn Points, Chris, he got a 1368. Big Marty, he's got a 1356 to come in ninth. And Cooper Roosters, Mark there with Cooper Roosters, got a 1350 to round out the top 10 for the group this week.
Shout out to Marty, Sausage Man.
We go to the
invitation.
We go to the group overall, and it's still Jed with Pog champion. He's sitting at 63 though, so he's had quite a drop. But I dare say when you're at those higher levels, you go up and down like a yo-yo every week. And he had a low scoring week this week with an 1176. That's probably why I haven't seen him in the chat.
Shamed himself out of the chat.
We got James with Perpetual Motion. He's sitting in just outside the top 100 at 112. He scored a 1147. The People's Chin, he is on a chargeback. He got a 1318, and he's sitting in 138th position overall. Smick Richards with Brendan with Smick Richards, he got a 1188. He's sitting in 165th. Then there seems to be a bit of a drop off to 5th with Occam Safety Razor with Gary. He's scored a 1265, and he's sitting just inside the top 300 at 291, and that's the top 5 for the group overall.
Shout out to the boys, the regulars doing well in there as well. Good to see Marty.
Yeah, Marty's doing
top
well.
500.
Yeah.
And hopefully Poggy can get back on the horse this week and bring that in a bit and done some good bike planning because he's well within striking distance.
Yep.
So
cool.
Into the all-in. It was, I mentioned him earlier, Vile Vipers, Michael, he top scored for the round, followed by Frank with Hope in Cogra with 1338. SpongeBob Cumpants, one of the best names going there, Scott, 1310. Alex with Extra Reckless with a 1296. And Marcus with Nightclub Incident with a 1220 to round out the top 5.
Nightclub Incident, love it.
And I got to mention too,
We've all had that.
Clemmy's in the chat, and he came in 6th with Tex Hoy's Sex Toys, which is a great name as well, with a 1218.
He's going all right, old Clemmy. Shout out to Clemmy. He's good value in the chat too, old Clemmy.
On to the Invitational. Obviously, we mentioned them earlier. It was Daniel and Marty that topped the week. Call Me Big Puppy, Tomo with a flat 1300. Then Mana with Checkmate with a 1295. And then Hunters, Maddie with a 1286.
Beautiful.
I made the page.
I made the page in the all in, but not on the Invitational. Draft results. Can you see these ones, Brent? What?
No.
You still can't see them either.
Oh,
I can see the scores, but I can barely make out. Oh, I can see the names.
Okay, so Hampo's Hitmen, they got up over Wayno with Hell's Grannies.
Fucking Teddy first picks finally paid off.
I helped
weekend.
you owe me a 6-pack of bourbons, Adrian, because I helped you out by beating second place. Call Me Big Puppy. I got my second win for the season, I believe it was, and I got up over them.
one with a 646 too. Jeez.
Second.
I know, got over the top of GameDay by a couple. What a night! I think came down to like that last little update.
I was going to say, did that come down to updates at all?
It did. It came down to updates, and I think I was behind until it was like a 5-point swinger, and I got him by a couple.
Ado got up over the Doctor. Mana got up over Josh King, and Benny went down to Trent. Trent is He's had won a few on a trot now, hasn't he, Trent? He might be a sneaky one to keep an eye on.
He's flying. He's flying. Well, the new blood's flying this year in this draft.
Which takes us to the ladder where Adrian sits atop.
Yes!
Call Me Big Puppy is sitting in second place. Trent there you go. Trent is sitting in third place. He's only one win away from those top positions. Followed very closely by Brent Hampton. And rounding out our top 5 is Mana sitting on 12 points. Me and Kane Anderson still sitting at the bottom. It's all right.
I reckon you boys are almost out of reach now. I think you and him are well out of reach.
This is the start of a streak for me.
No, I reckon you put a line through you. There's a big gap there now, and it's all over.
Yeah, well, we're three wins away from Josh King, who's sitting in 8th.
And that's saying something. Bloke hasn't looked at his team all season.
I don't know. Shout out to Josh King. I don't know. I don't know how many bourbons he'd be on at the moment, playing pool in someone's shed somewhere.
Yeah, amongst other things. I will see him in a couple of weeks. He'll be down in Canberra for the King's Cup. So it'll be cool comp.
Well, we're gonna do a show.
Maybe. I don't know when he flies in, but we'll have a chat and see if we can sort it out.
All right. And that's it.
Beautiful. Anything else anyone want to finish on? No trades this week. Got captains, vice captains. What's doing? Is he frozen? We've lost him.
I think we might have lost him. That or he's having a seizure or something.
He's having a...
Yeah, he's really thinking about it. I had Tanner Boyd, who got dropped this week. So I have traded him to Adam Dewey via Connor Watson moving into hooker, and I got rid of Walker and brought in Jerome Hughes. It's decided that I didn't have time to do anything except the one that's up on the screen now, so that's the one we're going with. Unless you want to design another one. Hold on, let me... Oh, he's back.
Yes.
So whatever happened killed the sound. They could hear me talking shit, I'm sure.
They can hear you, I think, Pogues. Yeah. We'll sign us off, Pogues. That'll do it.
That'll do it? You don't want to go into how you just took a shit on the logo and called everyone in the chat a fucking dickhead?
Oh, no. Now's your chance to say it while I can't respond.
Well, no, you're back live now. Just...
Yeah. Are you back?
It looks better. It looks better on normal other screens like phones because the blue's deeper and the red's richer. But our view is not the best. You know, like it looks bright.
Yeah, I think that. So I got the new PC that runs on 4K, and I think when you there's some issues when I take the graphics on the 4K screen as well. They're brighter, so shit happens, fellas. The Grand Theft Auto 5 looks fucking fantastic on it, so get fucked.
I mean, if you don't like it, Brent, I expect another picture. Draw us a picture.
Hey. I'm an ideas man. I'm not the design specialist, you know. Someone's got to get the ideas on paper to start somewhere. No, it looks good, Bogues. I like it. I'll be happy to run with that. I like the sky blue and the maroon. It's not too much maroon as well, which is good. I like the theme.
I did do one that was the first draft had more maroon, and it fucking came back with swap it round. We want them all. I did request.
There's too much maroon.
And I did do another one where the logo was more prominent. The the BJ game day, but Josh King went, no, it looks too cluttered. So you should,
Nah,
it fucking
fucking
goes to show
I-
that beggars can be fucking choosers.
Yeah, apparently. Well, here's a question on signing off. Who are you gonna? I mean, obviously in buy rounds, you get a free VC loop. So who's your VC and C this week? Who are you?
fuck,
Who are you
as a
looking at?
non-Heinz owner, that's probably a good question for non-Heinz owners.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
jeez.
Hines is my captain, and Tavita Pangai, I put the VC on.
I like that. It's like a pod VC there, Bogan. I like it.
Maybe I'm thinking maybe Burton or something a bit different, maybe as a VC,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe like an iPad, just play it safe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it'll either be Burton into a Hines captain because I just think he can't do any wrong, and I think they're going to give him a rolling. But if not, I could go VC Hines just to give myself a buffer and go Gutho for the C. I mean, that's why I held Gutho all this time, but I mean, Gutho worries me lately, but maybe that could be those are the 100 people. Burton can get 100, and Hines can go big 100, and Gutho can get 100. So I'll probably go somewhere in that realm.
Yeah, I like those shouts. They all sound pretty good, I reckon.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, Ados. I think if you got anything else you want to add, you obviously jump into Turbo Hammy's Cup, and I don't know how you're going in that, but I'm getting absolutely pumped overall, and not too much better head to head.
Jump on SoundCloud and listen to Adrianosaurus.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'll be back on the show this Sunday night after the
Yeah,
bye.
I was going to say every Sunday night, as soon as the game finishes, it's almost like he's predicted what's going to happen in the game, so he can pre-record it.
Good.
I just go because I've got no fucking kids, mate. So I just watch the game and then I come out here. As long as I've got dinner on and sorted for the missus, because she doesn't do any of the cooking, and as long as I've got dinner covered, I can just come straight in and get cracking. So, but I mean, good luck everyone this week. This is where everyone sort of sorts out how well they're doing for the year, really, because you can jump a couple of thousand spots if you've really set up well for the buy. So people who have got like IPAP, Burton, Hines, Gutho, you got the people, and TPJ, you got people who can get you hundreds. I think you're going to have a great buy round, so good luck.
And it is that. You only need that one guy out of the VC to ton up that has low percentage ownership and can make you move and shake for sure. So you're right, the next probably 5 weeks is probably the biggest of the year, really, with the moving and shaking. So, yeah, this is when it counts to use those trades wisely, especially, as I said, with the Super Trade Week coming up between around 15 and 16, where you get 5 trades, and they'll be pretty important as well. But, yes, thanks for jumping on, Ados. It's
a pleasure.
Thanks, as always. Love your insights, Bogan. Thanks for redesigning the logo at my request.
Yeah.
Finally. Better late than never, mate. And, thanks, everyone, for tuning in. The chat's absolutely lit. And, we'll look forward to having
like,
back
rate,
next week.
subscribe, share, all that YouTube bullshit.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thanks, lads and ladies.
All right. Cheers.
No worries. Thanks.
Good man.